Part 22, A Little Crazy Woman's Cozy Crazy Moments. And this is July the 27th, 2026 by man's calendar. And I had some things bearing on my mind all day. Things happened at work. Things kept happening at work. It was like things were going inside, outside, all kinds of crazy stuff. But you know what? The Lord is a deliverer. It didn't steal my peace. It didn't steal my joy. It upset me in the moment it was happening. But that's what's going to happen. But I still had the victory because I still came to church tonight. I still praise the Lord. I still got to hear some great word. Let me tell you, and I mean some great word. Those of you who wasn't out for it, you know what, you're probably going to be kicking yourself if you hear the video. It was a great service. Y'all missed it. But anyway, I had said some things in some of my other videos that I want to go back and just kind of address. Because some of y'all may have took them wrong. But I was quite irritated when I said them too. So they may have come across in a different way than I intended them. I was talking about, I think yesterday, in a couple of the parts, about breaking a fellow's arm because he's putting his hands on some other man's woman and whatnot at church. And these things ought not happen in the church, and I was doing that for humor. And if you really knew me and my personality, you would know I would never hurt a person. I've never really hurt a person in my days. It's just not in me. I take it to the Father. He deals with it. Now, I'm not going to say he ain't going to hurt people. Because he said, vengeance is mine and I shall repay. I wanted to clarify that a little bit. It was meant for humor. But those that don't know me ain't going to get that. Because they don't know my crazy humor. But I was trying to also make a good point. That there is a standard of holiness and there is a way of conducting ourselves inside the holy sanctuary. And these things ought not be going on. Anyway. Yeah, I had a man to tell me one time that I was the devil in the back of a sanctuary. He actually called me Satan because I didn't want him putting his hands on me. And I told him, I said, you want to shake my hand? Fine, you hold your hand out. I'll shake your hand. Don't you put your hands on my person nowhere else. It's not appropriate. I literally told him that. But there was reasons. Because he had asked me out and stuff, and I told him no, I rejected it, but I'm not going to get into all that. It's because there's extenuating circumstances there, and I just don't want to get into all that. It just don't matter. I'm not going to commit sin with people. I don't care what their issue is, and they can get mad all day long. But anyway, he got angry because I told him not to put his hands on me. But there was some other witnesses standing there. There was some other women. I'd seen the whole situation that time of what happened with that and heard him call me a devil. Well, they didn't know what had happened because they didn't know what had happened prior to that led up to that. So they got kind of freaked out though and they left. I did too, but I left hurt, crying. Went home pouting to Jesus. was standing up for the truth. He called me a devil. And he said, okay. Get over it. He said, they told me I cast out devils by Beelzebub. What are you pouting for? At least they didn't put you on a tree. I'm telling you what, the Lord sometimes will be more honest than you want him to be. I kid you not. But it don't mean you don't need it. You need that truth to knock the crust off, especially when you get into a slump, wanting to feel sorry for yourself. I just never thought I would have to go through any of that stuff I was going through, to be honest. I had never faced anything like those things in my life. Ever. And so, when I was kind of thrown into this particular lion's den, I wasn't expecting it. And I wasn't prepared, I guess you could say. And I was young in the Word and but my scriptures all escaped me. And I thought, Jesus, what happened to those scriptures that I needed for this particular battle? Where'd they all go? I know them, Jesus. I know bunches of them that would have went right along with this, Lord. But where did they go when I needed them most? But you know what? They were not there. So it kind of played out, but the Lord was testing me, but he was testing other people with it too. And it kind of just played out over the time. And so forth. And I just trusted in the Lord. Well, the Lord has been handling it. And he's done wonders with it. The situation. He fixed it his way. And that's what the Lord does. But let me explain something to you. Some of y'all might have got angry at me because I said that about breaking that man's arm. At least that was leaving that man alive. Let me tell you something. There's a story in the Bible about how a woman, because God had commanded some men to kill a man and a woman what was taken in adultery. He commanded them to kill them, to get the sin out of the camp, to prevent God's wrath from coming upon everybody. And those men would not do it. So there was a woman standing by, and she didn't want the wrath of God to come upon the whole village. And I know that God had to help her with this, because she picked up a javelin and she threw it plumb through that man and the woman too. Now, don't you tell me that God don't do these types of things. Y'all need to go back and read the Old Testament, because you don't know God. You want to holler, but now we live in grace. We still have a standard to uphold in the name of God. He told us not to have his lasciviousness and stuff around us, and certainly shouldn't permit it in the churches. Lord have mercy. I don't come to church to watch porn. I come to church to serve the Lord. Now, I'm just going to say it. Keep your X-rated stuff out the church. Now, if you can't keep your hands to yourself, you best be a checking with the Lord. Fars are coming, honey. And the Lord's a coming at fire. It's going to rain down on this earth. It's going to burn out all this Sodom and Gomorrah sins. And it wasn't just homosexuality. Let me just tell you, it's all kinds of lasciviousness and things like that. Y'all might think I'm too hard. I don't think y'all hard enough. So I guess we even. Because when it comes to upholding God's truth, I don't think people's stern enough. This ain't a plaything. This is a no right way. This is a truthful way. And we got to know the truth. We got to know the truth. And I may speak sternly. And I may speak boldly. Don't mean I don't love people. That's why I speak sternly. And why I speak boldly. It's because I don't want people to burn in hell. You know what? God didn't handle me with kids' gloves. He let me know very much so that I was lost. I was going to die and go to a burning hell. When he was talking with me seriously about how my soul was not ready to go. But I was seeking the Lord for answers. I was ready finally to fully commit. Holy Lord, what was that? There ain't a cloud in the sky, y'all. And I just seen one of the most spectacular, I about said holy moly. I don't even know if that's a real word. I just seen lightning go from the center of a point and went two different, like a rod across the sky. It came out of a center point and went both directions, like west and east. It was actually one, and I'm blinding people. Sorry, folks. It was one of the most spectacular things I've ever seen in my days. I used to watch a lot of lightning storms when I was a little girl. We lived in Ohio for a little while, and I do wish this car would pass me. No, that's not road rage. I'm being nice, and I got my lights down on dim, so I ain't gonna be blind on them. But anyways, and yes, I'm using my hands free, so being safe with this always. As I'm just letting you enjoy the little car ride home with me. The Lord knows that I love to watch Him with storms or what have you. I have seen the power of God's might in so many things, but I have seen His beauty and His grace in the same things. Even when He's stern, there is grace and beauty because He tempers justice with mercy. For real. The Lord knows how to temper justice with mercy. He's wise. But He's looking for good soldiers, devout soldiers, that will speak His truth sternly, without regret, without fear. Last night I got her driving along through here and something happened. I forget now what it was. But I missed my turn. And a lot of people would have got mad. I thought, Lord. But no, I didn't have my GPS open or nothing. I was going on just letting the Lord guide me. And I said, Lord, I have missed my turn. Because that's what God does. And I think He allowed me to get distracted in that moment for that purpose. So that I wouldn't miss that turn to let me be fully dependent on Him at that moment. And it brought me to exactly where I needed to be. And I was just at awe. But I trust the Lord. I trust the Lord in my life. I've gone several times across this country not knowing if I was coming back to do things for the Lord, and what probably would seem like something silly to people. Just to pray on mountains and stuff. No, I didn't know the purpose in it, but the Lord had purpose in it. I kind of know some of the purpose now, but I didn't when I done it. I just know He said it had to be done, and it had to be done then. So, some of the times my husband or brother was able to go with me, and some of the times I had to go alone. You know, we have to be willing to serve the Lord, even if it's by ourselves, y'all. And I've been doing that now for almost 5 years, completely alone. Well, before Daddy died, he did go with me on one of the things, and he was really upset about the whole situation, and that he found out how real the situation was when we got there. Because he didn't understand, and he thought that it was a fake thing, and then when I got there and he saw this thing, that it wasn't fake, it was real, and so forth, he knew. But Daddy didn't study things out as deeply as I did. See, and he just... started to rain a little bit. Well, there wasn't a cloud in the sky when I left the church. That's the weird thing, because the moon was shining big and bright. Well, it was reddish, because it was a haze, but there was no clouds up there, you know what I mean? Anyways, I thank God for the adventures He's taken me on. And you know what? I wouldn't have took anything and not went. Because Jesus is going to be crowned King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And I'm going to get to see that. And we had to be obedient, because you might think your obedience doesn't help with these things, but it does. But not only that, it helps with other people. Brother Steve giving a testimony tonight about how he went back and paid for an extra salad when they stuck it in his bag by accident. He went back to do the right thing and paid for it. And he said at least he know, in himself that it was the right thing. But you know what? It wasn't just that either. That was a witness to them workers. That he was willing to be honest about that and come back. And that shines a light of God. That shines a lot of God. Sometimes I see people come in there where I work. And I don't know if they got all kinds of money or they don't have none. But if I see them sitting there and they ain't eating nothing, and they look extremely worried, sometimes the Lord nudge me just right, I'll pray about it. And if the Lord give me a good nudging about it and tell me, yeah, that's what's going on, Then I go try to get them one of them little cheeseburger bags or something and take it out to them. And then I pay for it later with my boss. I get them to come ring me up. And sometimes even that has helped some people just come out of some bad situations they in. It really does help people sometimes. You know, just showing a little bit of love and kindness to people sometimes in the right moment. You don't know what everybody going through. Maybe they was having a day like I had today. When I got to work, I was told that I was going to have to be wrote up because I was a no-call, no-show. I worked there almost 2 years now, and I've never not called. No matter what the weather was or whatever my reason. But see, I had talked to my GM and another one of my managers last week, and I thought it was squared away that I was supposed to be off Friday because I had an emergency at home. My living room ceiling and the low ceiling tile things, they had failed. And my little house dog couldn't see. He's kind of blindish. And he has his own path and everything that he takes to his food and water, his pads and stuff. And the little fella was pitiful through it all. He was a little trooper. Them things would fall and make awfulest noises and stuff, knocking stuff off shelves and all that stuff. But the only thing on the shelves was my candles and stuff. I don't have knicket breakers and stuff. I don't believe in, don't cotton to the graven images anymore since the Lord showed me the truth on those things. So I got rid of them, but it was a knocking some of my candles and stuff around and different things. And some of my Bible books and whatnot got knocked off. And it scared him. But it made a huge mess. And I needed to clean it up so that little feller could get back to his stuff. And by the time I get home of it, even I'm so exhausted. I usually go to church after work every day, just about it, or at least Bible study. But I'd rather be in church than anywhere in the world. And you know what? The ceiling could fall. A lot of them have. But I ain't gonna let that trouble me because that's just the stuff in this life's gonna burn anyway. Let me put it that way. You might think that seems abnormal or whatever. I don't care. Because see, I'm not going to let that steal my peace with the Lord. And the Lord will help me deal with it in due time. There's still some of it I got to get down. And there's still some of it I got to... But I did get what had already fallen all cleaned up at least. I'm not going to say it didn't, break my heart, but this was stuff my mom had put into that home, y'all. Back before she ever died. So yeah, in its own right, it did kind of break my heart a little bit. But I'm not so attached to that I'm going to let that steal my peace. Because you know what? Even if the house falls down around me, the Lord has provided me with the tent. I'll pop it up and live in it. Because the Lord is good. But I'm going to keep right on serving Him. It don't matter. See, Job lost everything too. He lost his family. I feel that. He lost his home and stuff. Different things. But he still had the Lord. So as long as I got Jesus, I'm good. Because I'm not so super attached to this stuff that I won't let it steal my peace. It's just things. Just things. I don't gotta have the latest of everything, and I don't want it. That's leading into the beast system. That's leading us down the wrong path. And I don't want to go that way. Jesus was a poor and lowly carpenter who had nothing. And he was happy, y'all. He was happy. And he preached the gospel. And he told people that the kingdom of heaven was at hand. If it was at hand then, how much more now are we now? 2,000 years later. I mean, come on, y'all. Think about it. How much more now are we now than we ever was before? So no, don't tell me I'm being too stern. At least I didn't pick up no javelin and throw it to that man. And fellas, if you're trying to flirt with one lady, don't do it by trying to pat on another. That is disgusting. A woman don't want no feller that's going to be two-timing her. And if you already patting on people before you even get talking with her or whatever, that's not a flirt. By the way, let me just educate you to that. I mean, I'm not no professional flirter or nothing. But let me tell you, I can tell you, women don't find that attractive, or at least I can tell you I don't. Now, I've had several fellers ask me out since my husband died and stuff. But no, I ain't gonna be... If they ain't interested in the Lord as much as I am, I got no need for them anyway. Even for a friendship. I sure ain't got no need for them. But just saying. But I'm seeking the kingdom of heaven. And I don't need anybody to try to hinder my walk. And I know full well the devil will try to throw people in your path just to try to knock you off the path. And this old girl ain't a doing her. No, sir. I love the Lord genuinely with all my heart. So much so I would give my life for Him. I did. I walked away from everything to go pray on those mountains and stuff. And my family, what was living, thought I lost my mind. Whoa! Alright, Lord, that's just a little bit. Big wind that just hit me from somewhere. And there was debris flying all around my vehicle. I watched him pick it up off the road and just swoop it all around me. Okie dokie. I have seen God do some spectacular. Y'all, I ain't near my home. Ooh, good thing I got my passport for Oz. I really do have one of those. I'm a big nut. What do you expect? I pack my passport everywhere I go. Y'all pack your passport. But anyway, I'm out of time on this particular video, so I'll see you in the next part.